Okay, ready for a deep dive. Today, it's 14 actions that please God more than you might imagine.
Okay.
Now, this is coming at things from a Christian perspective.
Right.
But even if that's not your background,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the ideas here are going to resonate.
Yeah.
They're really about universal values,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yeah. No, it's about how you live your life.
It is.
It's about character
Yeah.
and intention.
And like little things you might not even think about.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how it connects those like simple everyday things
Huh?
to a deeper meaning.
Exactly. And it's not about these like
Yeah.
huge gestures.
Oh,
or,
hold on, about being
like-
Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
It's about just like the small choices we make all the time.
Exactly. The little things
Yeah.
that reveal who we are.
Exactly.
Right.
So like who would think that like being stuck in traffic
Right.
could be an opportunity for growth?
Exactly.
You know, but that's what this piece is saying. And it all starts with loving your neighbor. And it means everyone,
Everyone.
even the difficult ones.
Oh, absolutely. Even the people that are hard to love.
Yeah. So like how often do we try to really understand
Right.
where that difficult coworker is coming from?
Yeah.
You know?
That's tough.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Like really practice empathy
Mhm.
and then offer help if we can.
Yep.
And probably one of the toughest things is to forgive those who've hurt us.
That is a tough one.
Like truly forgive.
So forgiveness.
Not just like saying the words, but really letting it go.
Yeah, it's about letting go of the hurt.
So it's about becoming a force for good in those tough situations.
Yes.
Instead of like adding fuel to the fire.
Exactly. It's about bringing peace
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the situation instead of escalating it.
And that's powerful.
It is.
It really is.
And, it makes you think about how we react
Yeah.
in those moments.
Yeah. Do we escalate?
Do we get defensive?
Yeah.
Do we lash out?
Do we make it worse?
Yeah. Or do we take a step back,
Right.
breathe,
Yeah.
and try to understand
Yeah.
what's really going on?
And this piece really digs into forgiveness.
Yes, it does.
Like not just saying, I forgive you,
Right.
but like really letting go of that grudge.
Really releasing that person
Yeah.
from the wrong they've done.
It even says to pray for the person who hurt you.
It does. And that sounds kind of radical.
It does sound radical.
But think about how that shifts your perspective.
Yeah.
When you're praying for their well-being,
Mm-hmm.
you're not focused on your own hurt anymore.
Right.
You're actually
Like,
trying to see them
yeah.
in a different light.
And holding on to that anger is so heavy.
It is. It's like a weight
Yeah.
that you're carrying around.
Yeah.
And forgiveness is like setting that weight down.
It is.
It's like a gift you give yourself.
It is.
What'd you say?
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
And there's science behind that too.
Oh, yeah.
Studies show that forgiveness can reduce stress
Right.
and improve mental health.
It's not just a spiritual thing.
No, it's not just like a nice idea.
Right.
It's actually like a...
It's backed by research.
Yeah.
That forgiveness is good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So moving on to humility.
Okay.
And it's not about putting yourself down.
No, it's not about self-deprecation.
Right.
It's more about recognizing
Yeah.
that we're all part of something bigger
Yeah.
than ourselves.
We're not the center of the universe.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's about putting others' needs before our own
Yeah.
and being open to learning and growing.
Right.
Remember the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector?
Oh, yeah.
The Pharisee's like boasting about all his good deeds.
Right.
And the tax collector's just humbly asking for forgiveness.
Mm.
And it's the tax collector
Yeah.
who finds favor with God.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that true strength often lies in acknowledging
Mm-hmm.
that we don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
We're not perfect.
We don't have it all figured out.
No.
Where do you see that playing out in your own life?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's about
Yeah.
being willing to admit when I'm wrong,
Hmm.
which is hard.
It's hard for everybody.
Yeah, nobody likes to be wrong.
No.
But sometimes
Yeah.
it's the most honest
It
and
is.
humble thing you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. What about for you?
Yeah, I think for me, it's about being open to learning from anyone,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of their background or experience.
Yeah.
Everyone has something to teach us
Right.
if we're willing to listen.
Yeah. And that ties into serving others,
It does.
which this piece presents as a way to express love.
Yeah.
And it's not just about like writing a check
No,
and donating money.
it's about showing up for people.
Yeah.
It's about spending time with them,
Mm-hmm.
offering a listening ear.
It reminds me of something my grandma used to say.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes the best gift you can give someone is your time.
That's so true.
You know, it's like you don't have to be rich or powerful to make a difference.
No, not at all.
Like you can just do small acts of service
Yeah,
and kindness.
the little things
Yeah.
can mean so much.
And the source actually mentions like visiting a nursing home
Yes.
and spending time with residents.
Just being present with them.
Yeah. Imagine how much that could mean to somebody
Right.
who feels lonely.
Exactly. Isolated.
Have you ever considered volunteering at a place like that?
You know, I haven't, but that's
Yeah.
a really good idea.
It is. It really makes you think about
Yeah.
what you can do
Yeah.
in your community.
Right in your own backyard.
Yeah. And it's not just about making other people feel good.
No,
It's about how it changes you,
absolutely.
you know, in the process.
Yeah. It's just your perspective.
It
You
does.
learn gratitude,
Yeah.
empathy, responsibility.
And then that leads us to seeking justice,
Yes.
which this piece presents as more than just following the law.
It's about fighting for fairness,
Yeah.
standing up for those who are being treated unfairly.
It makes you think about people like Martin Luther King Jr.,
Absolutely.
who fought for racial equality.
Yeah,
And that took so much courage.
it did.
And we may not all be called to lead a movement,
Right.
but we can choose to speak up against injustice.
In our own ways.
Yeah, even in small ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like calling out a biased joke
Yeah,
or speaking up for someone who's being excluded.
right.
You know, those little things.
Yeah, the source reminds us that we can all be examples
Yes.
of integrity and uprightness
Yeah.
in our own communities.
Yeah,
And that's powerful.
it is.
It really is. And it doesn't have to be like a big public display.
Rob,
Sometimes the most powerful acts of justice are quiet
exactly.
and everyday choices that we make.
The choices we make when no one's watching.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about gratitude.
Okay.
And this is not about ignoring the hard things in life.
No.
It's about finding things to appreciate,
Yes.
even when things are really tough.
Even in the midst of challenges.
Yeah, it's almost like an act of faith.
It is.
Isn't it?
It's acknowledging that even when things are difficult,
Yeah.
there are still things to be thankful for.
Yeah.
It's a choice to focus on what you have,
Hmm.
not what you lack.
And it's interesting because science supports this too.
Oh, yeah.
Like studies show that grateful people tend to be happier
Right.
and healthier.
They experience less stress,
Yeah.
less depression.
Yeah. It's like a superpower.
It's like a mental and emotional superpower.
It is.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. This next one's interesting, maintaining purity of heart.
Okay.
It's about aligning your thoughts and actions with your values.
Mm.
What does that actually look like?
Well, I think it's about being mindful
Yeah.
of what you're taking in,
Mm-hmm.
both mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
Like, what are you watching?
Yeah.
What are you reading?
Mm-hmm.
What are you listening to?
Yeah.
Are these things aligned with the kind of person you want to be?
Yeah.
It's about being honest with yourself.
And making choices that reflect your deepest values.
It's like cleaning up your mental diet.
It is.
Like, are you feeding your mind with junk food or
Yeah.
are you nourishing it
Right.
with healthy, positive input?
Exactly.
It's a good reminder to just kind of take stock of what you're consuming.
Yes.
And is it actually soothing you?
And be intentional about it.
Yeah.
Be intentional about what you're allowing
Yeah.
into your mind and your heart.
Right.
Because those things will ultimately shape your actions.
Okay, so this next one, cultivating patience.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is something that a lot of people can relate to.
Absolutely.
We live in such a fast-paced world.
We do.
It's easy to get caught up in the rush.
It is.
Yeah.
And the source talks about patience as a
Yeah.
quality that we develop
Mm-hmm.
through our connection to something bigger than ourselves.
Okay.
You know, think about it. When you're stuck in traffic,
Mm-hmm.
do you get angry and frustrated?
Yeah.
Or do you use that time to pray or reflect
Mm-hmm.
or just breathe?
Yeah, it's like choosing to find peace in the chaos.
It is.
Right.
It's about finding that stillness
Yeah.
in the midst of the storm.
And it's not just patience with circumstances.
Yeah.
It's patience with people, too.
Absolutely.
You know?
Because let's face it,
Yeah.
we all make mistakes.
We all have our own journey.
We do.
Yeah.
We all have our own stuff that
Yeah.
we're working through.
It's about extending grace to others.
Yes,
Just as we would want them to extend it to us.
exactly.
What do you think is the biggest obstacle to practicing patience these days?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I think it's the constant pressure
Yeah.
to be productive
Mm-hmm.
and efficient.
Yeah.
You know, we're bombarded with messages telling us
Yeah.
to do more,
Yeah.
be more,
Achieve more.
achieve more.
Yeah.
And it creates this sense of urgency
Yeah.
that can be really draining.
Yeah. How do you deal with that pressure?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to literally schedule downtime into my calendar.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just keep going and going
Yeah.
until I burn out.
And speaking of extending grace,
Yeah.
this piece also talks about compassion.
Mm.
And it's not just about feeling sympathy for someone.
Yeah.
It's about actually taking action to help.
It's about putting yourself in someone else's shoes
Yeah.
and responding with care.
Like, imagine a coworker's going through a difficult time.
Yeah.
Do you ignore them?
Right.
Do you gossip about them?
Or do you reach out?
Or do you reach out and offer support?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you offer a listening ear?
And sometimes that's all it takes.
It is.
You know, just listen.
Just being present.
Yeah, you don't have to have all the answers.
No, you don't have to fix it.
Right.
You just have to be there
Yeah.
and listen.
And the source points out that showing compassion
Mm-hmm.
is a way to reflect good in the world.
It is.
You know,
Yeah.
it's about bringing light
Yeah.
to those dark places.
It's about being a beacon of hope in a world that can often feel dark and hopeless.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's about reminding people that they're not alone,
Yeah.
that they're loved.
That they matter.
Exactly.
Yeah. As we're going through all these actions,
Right.
what's striking me is how interconnected they are.
They are.
It's not like you can just pick and choose one.
No, it's like a tapestry.
It is.
They're all woven together.
They all work together to create a more meaningful life.
Exactly. You can't have true forgiveness without compassion,
Right.
and you can't promote peace
Right.
without humility and integrity.
Yeah, they all build on each other.
They do.
And it's not just about personal gain.
No, it's not about getting something out of it.
Right. It's not about earning points with God.
Well, yeah.
It's about becoming more like Christ,
Yes.
embodying those qualities.
It's about personal transformation
Yeah.
that then ripples outward,
Yes.
impacting our relationships
Yeah.
and the world around us.
It's like that Gandhi quote, be the change you wish to see.
Exactly.
And what I appreciate about this piece is that it doesn't sugarcoat things.
Yeah.
It acknowledges that living this way is
Yeah.
not always easy.
It's not always easy to be patient
Right.
when your flight's delayed.
Or to forgive someone who really hurt you.
Yeah. That takes work.
It does.
It does.
It takes effort.
It goes against our natural instincts sometimes.
It does.
But the source offers some practical guidance.
Yeah.
It reminds us that we don't have to do this alone.
Right.
We can lean on our faith,
Mm-hmm.
our community,
Yeah.
and even practices like prayer or meditation
Right.
to help us cultivate these qualities.
Like that suggestion to pray for the person who hurt you,
Oh, yeah.
that's not about condoning their actions.
Right.
It's about shifting your own perspective.
About releasing that anger.
Yeah. Have you ever tried that?
I have, and it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
But it can also be incredibly liberating.
Yeah.
It's like choosing to release that burden instead of carrying it around with you.
What about you? Have you found any practices that help you cultivate these qualities?
You know, honestly,
Yeah.
keeping a gratitude journal has been huge for me.
Yeah.
It sounds so simple,
Yeah.
but taking a few minutes each day to write down what I'm thankful for
Yeah.
really helps shift my focus to the positive.
It's a great reminder that even when things are tough, there's always something to appreciate.
Always.
What about for you? What helps you stay grounded?
For me, it's spending time in nature.
Okay.
You know, being surrounded by trees,
Yeah.
mountains, or even just a park
Yeah.
helps me connect to something bigger than myself.
Yeah.
It reminds me that I'm part of something vast
Right.
and interconnected,
Mm-hmm.
and that my problems, while real,
Yeah.
are also temporary.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's about finding those things that help you connect to a sense of peace
Right.
and perspective.
Especially when life feels chaotic.
You know, one of the things I struggle with the most is maintaining purity of heart,
That's a tough one.
especially in this digital age.
Oh, it's so hard.
We're constantly bombarded with negativity, comparison.
The comparison game is real.
It's so real.
Yeah.
And just a lot of noise.
There's so much noise.
It's hard to filter it all out
It is.
and stay focused on what matters.
Yeah, the source's suggestion to be mindful of
Yeah.
what we consume, both in terms of media and information,
Yeah.
is so important.
It's like we have to curate our mental diets
We do.
just as carefully as we curate our physical diets.
Absolutely.
What are some things you do to protect your mental space?
Honestly, sometimes I have to just take a break
Yeah.
from social media altogether.
I do that too.
It's too easy to get caught up
Yeah.
in the comparison game
Right.
and start feeling inadequate.
I also try to be intentional about filling my feed with positive, inspiring content.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah. Are there any accounts or websites you follow?
Yes. I follow a lot of nature photographers
Okay.
and spiritual teachers
Yeah.
who share messages of peace and compassion
Yeah.
and mindfulness.
It's like a little dose of positivity.
It is.
Right.
It's a reminder to focus on what truly matters.
Yeah.
Connecting with nature,
Mhm.
serving others,
Yeah.
living in alignment with my values.
And that ties into living with integrity,
It does.
which the source describes as being honest and consistent
Yes.
in all areas of life.
Regardless of who's watching.
It's about doing the right thing even when it's hard,
It is.
even when no one will know the difference.
Exactly. It takes courage
It
to
does.
do the right
It
thing,
really does.
even when it's not easy.
And it's not always easy.
No.
We all face temptations to cut corners
We do.
or compromise our values.
Especially when we think we can get away with it.
Yeah, think about a time when you were tempted to be dishonest.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was a small lie to avoid getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was something bigger.
Yep.
How did you handle that situation?
You know, I try to remember that my integrity
Mm-hmm.
is worth more
Right.
than any short-term gain.
Yeah.
And I think about the long-term consequences
Right.
of my actions.
Will this decision align with my values?
Exactly.
Will it build trust?
Right.
Those are great questions to ask.
They are.
And it reminds us that integrity isn't just about big dramatic moments.
Right.
It's about those everyday choices.
Little things.
Yeah, it's about being honest in our relationships,
Yes.
fair in our dealings,
Mm-hmm.
and true to our word,
It's about building a reputation of
Mhm.
trustworthiness.
which takes time
It does.
and consistency.
Consistency.
Speaking of consistency,
Okay.
the source also talks about the importance of faith and trust.
Yeah.
And it's not just about believing in something you can't see.
No.
It's about having confidence that even when things are tough,
Yeah.
there's a bigger
Sure.
plan at work.
It's like trusting the pilot
Yeah,
during a turbulent flight.
that's a great analogy.
You know, you may not understand what's happening,
Right.
but you have faith
Yeah,
that the pilot has the skills and experience
right.
to navigate through the storm.
It's about surrendering control,
Yeah.
trusting that you're not alone,
You're not alone,
even when things feel uncertain.
even when it's scary.
And it's not just about personal faith. It's
No.
about finding community and support.
Right.
And the source emphasizes the importance of fellowship.
Yes.
Living in fellowship with other believers.
Finding your people.
Yeah, finding a group of people
Yeah.
who share your values,
Who gets you?
who can support you
Who can lift you up
on your journey.
and challenge you to grow?
It's like having a team of gardeners.
I love that.
Right.
That's a great analogy.
We're helping each other tend to those seeds
Yeah.
of kindness and forgiveness.
And compassion.
It makes those tough times a little easier to navigate,
It does.
knowing you're not alone.
You can share your struggles. Celebrate your victories.
Yeah.
Learn from each other's experiences.
It's about being honest with yourself
Yes.
and with others,
Absolutely.
admitting when you need help.
And being willing to offer support
Yeah.
when someone else is struggling.
We all fall short sometimes.
We do. Nobody's
Okay, well,
perfect.
nobody's perfect.
And that's where grace comes in.
Yeah. It's about remembering that we're all works in progress.
Yeah, we're all on a journey.
And we're all worthy of love and forgiveness.
Absolutely.
Even when we mess up.
Even when we make mistakes.
It's about extending that same grace to others.
Yes.
Recognizing that they're on their own journey.
With their own set of challenges
yeah.
and triumphs.
And that journey ultimately is
Yeah.
about becoming
Mhm.
more like Christ.
Or the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Reflecting those qualities
Right.
of love, compassion, justice, and truth.
In the world.
It sounds daunting,
It can be.
but it's also incredibly inspiring.
Mm.
It's a reminder that we all have the power to make a difference,
We do.
even in small ways.
Even the smallest acts of kindness.
Yeah. So as we close this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I want to ask you, the listener, a question.
All right.
What resonated with you most
Mhm.
in this conversation?
Yeah.
What actions are you already practicing?
Right.
And where do you see room for growth?
Yeah.
Take a moment to reflect on these questions
Mhm.
as we head into our final part. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground in
Yeah.
this deep dive.
Yeah.
And as we kind of wrap things up,
Mm-hmm.
I keep coming back to this idea of intentionality.
Yeah.
It's not just about like knowing these actions.
Yeah.
It's about consciously weaving them into our lives.
It's about making a choice.
Yeah.
Day after day.
Yeah.
To be more loving,
Mhm.
more forgiving, more compassionate.
And it's not always easy.
No, it's a practice.
It is. I love how the source describes it as planting seeds.
Oh, yeah.
You plant a seed of kindness and it grows into a tree of compassion. It's beautiful imagery.
You plant a seed of forgiveness
Mhm.
and you get a garden of peace.
I love that.
I love that imagery.
Yeah.
It really speaks to that ripple effect.
It does.
Yeah.
The good we put out into the world
Yeah.
has a way of coming back to us,
It does.
sometimes in the most unexpected ways.
And it reminds me of the importance of fellowship,
Absolutely.
having a community,
Yeah.
people who share your values,
Yeah, your tribe.
yeah, who can support you on your journey.
People who get it.
Yeah. It's like having a team of gardeners
Yeah.
helping each other tend to those seeds
I love that analogy.
of kindness and forgiveness.
It makes those tough times a little easier.
It
Knowing
doesn't.
you're not alone.
You can share your struggles,
Mm-hmm.
celebrate your victories,
Mm-hmm.
learn from each other's experiences,
And be honest
Yeah.
with yourself and with others.
admitting when you need help,
Yeah.
and offering support when someone else is struggling.
And we all fall short sometimes.
We do.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah,
Nobody's perfect. And that's where the grace comes in.
that's right.
Remembering that we're all works in progress.
We're all on a journey.
We're all worthy of love and forgiveness.
Absolutely.
Even when we mess up.
Even when we make mistakes.
And extending that same grace to others.
Yes.
Recognizing that they're on their own journey.
With their own set of challenges,
Right.
and triumphs.
And that journey ultimately is about becoming more like Christ, or really the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
Reflecting those qualities of
Mhm.
love, compassion, justice, truth.
In the world.
It sounds daunting,
It can be.
but it's also incredibly inspiring.
It is.
It's a reminder that we all have the power to make a difference,
We do.
even in small ways.
Even the smallest acts of kindness.
So as we close, I want to leave you with this.
Okay.
What's one small step you can take today to live more intentionally? What seed are you going to plant?
Maybe it's reaching out to someone you need to forgive.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just offering a genuine compliment to a stranger.
Yeah.
Even the smallest acts can have a ripple effect.
So go out there and plant those seeds.
Tend to your garden.
Tend to your garden and watch it grow.
Yeah,
You might be surprised by the beauty and abundance that blossoms.
absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It was a pleasure.
We hope it's inspired you to live a more meaningful
Mm.
and intentional life.